One of the most critical things one of the most critical skills you need to learn when, or sort of achieve when you're starting a business or doing something that is painful is the ability to focus. And focus at its core principle is simply doing one thing after another. No such thing as multitasking. So, what I mean by this is, for example, let's say you want to get fit, right? But if you're, let's just say, doom scrolling whilst also lifting, like, let's just say, like, you just did a set and then as soon as you got off the set, you are on your phone. That's multitasking because you're switching from one thing to the other. And if you want to accelerate your progress or chance of being successful, you need to learn how to do focus, use focus, and just make focus your best friend. Because without focus, it is far less likely for you to become successful in any aspect you choose to be in. So, one thing that I have learned in my entrepreneur career and my cross country career or anything that is painful and is helping me grow to become a better person physically, emotionally, socially, etc., is just learning how to focus. And one of the core principles of focus is almost delayed gratification and choosing to do the painful stuff before the pleasurable stuff. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So, if you do pleasurable activities, which most of them are multitasking activities and doing multiple pleasurable things at once, it will become very hard to focus because your pleasurable activities, aka the activities that are not painful, will not correspond with the activities that are painful. And activities that are painful require you to have a deep level of focus. And one thing that I usually do in my personal experience is it's like a habit. You guys know habits. Of course you do, but like a habit. Like you probably know that one book called like Atomic Habits by, I forget the author name, but I think you know what I'm talking about. It's a pretty popular book. And he goes, it's an okay book. Like, there's some stuff that it's okay, but in one of the images, it showed like a dot that determines the start of the day, and then it has two options, and then those options go into two more options, and then etc. And then the one at the tops are usually very marginal, but the first decision of the day is usually the biggest difference between whether you're going to have a good day or a bad day. Because if you make your first decision and it's bad, it's very hard to climb back up to overall the day being good. And what you can learn from this is, as focus is one thing from the next, is to simply, the first thing you do when you get up is you do something that is productive and it's painful. So, for example, what I do, and I got this from my mentor, Charlie Morgan, I basically just copied what he did. Here's like what I do. This is my morning routine. I wake up, I stand up, I get up from my bed. Do not stay in your bed. Do not feel the comfort of your bed. You have to delay gratification. I stand up, I walk to the bathroom with my little retainers, because I wear retainers, keeps teeth straight. Can't have them British teeth. So, yeah, I grab my retainer casket. Then I grab my jug. Like, here. I'm actually using it to hold up my phone. I grab this from my nightstand, and I walk to my bathroom. I turn on the cold water. I just hold my breath like that. I don't know why, but if I just hold my breath and just don't exhale, like, my body doesn't, I can manage it a little better when going in the cold shower. And then, I turn the cold shower. It's cold. I just shimmy on in. I usually stay in there for a minute or two. I get out. I wash myself, and then I brush my teeth, spit it all out, put my retainers. I put my retainers back in my container before I turn the shower on. I drink my water, and then I get dressed. Then I go to work. Okay, keep in mind, no phone, no nothing, no contact to the outside world. Straight to work. Then it's usually around 7:30. My dad makes breakfast. He incentivizes that I take breakfast. I usually just eat eggs, maybe some ground beef, and make some toast, and then I'm off to school. So simple as that. And what you can learn from me, I'll do that later. But what you can learn from me is just to do the most painful thing first. And this goes back to the delayed gratification. You want to do the pleasurable things, like, relaxing, because you need to rest, Discipline is to have it, to know that you have to rest sometimes, okay? You can't be disciplined 24/7. You want to save those activities, if you can, to the end of the day. Because that is when you're going to be the most worn out, the most needed for rest, etc. And when you do it at the start of the day, it's harder to get back into the workflow because your brain thinks, oh, yeah, well, we just did this, So it's just stuff like that, okay? So, and then, again, the one thing you learn from me is do the most painful things at the start of the day. Remember that one thing I told you, The biggest marginal difference between having a good day or a bad day is your first decision of the day. So you want to do the most painful thing, which for most people is doing a cold shower. Because, let's be real here, most people dread taking a cold shower. Like, the only thing I'd say that's worse than that is, like, going for, like, a long run, but even then, like, that's over the course of, like, an hour plus. It's, like, the most painful thing in the shortest amount of time to get you focused, Sorry about that. My dog's in the camera. Okay. And another thing that I do is when I'm watching videos from Imperium Academy, it's a program, links in the description if you want to change your life, this mouse. And what this mouse does is it distracts me. It has me click on other websites, other things, fidget around with it, etc. And what I've actually started to do a focus challenge where, again, my focus started to slip. I started to just clickety-clack, do other stuff than focus on videos. But when I was actually working on something, like making SOPs, calling people, building shit, I was in the flow. But when I listen to videos, it's kind of weird because it's weird almost because it's a set amount of time. No matter how fast or slow you work on it, it's still going to be a set amount of time versus actually working on something. And one of the things I do to prevent myself from fidgeting around, clicking all over the place, is to grab my mouse and I put it on the other side of the room. That is what I do when I start a video. I turn the video usually 1 to 1.25 speed, and I just lock the fuck in. Put this on the other side of the room, and that's what I do. It's just removing the actions that make it easy for you to engage in the bad behavior, aka multitasking. So, for example, your phone, checking your phone. One thing you could do if you're really addicted to your phone is to put your phone in another room. Another thing that you could do is just flat out destroy it. So one thing that my mentor has done, he was addicted to video games. This is an example, and he was addicted to, I believe, his Xbox. And what he would do is, when he was starting his early entrepreneur career, he would be super addicted to his game. He couldn't work. So what he would do, he ran a bath, and he put the Xbox in, and he fried it. So the more drastic the behavior, the more likely you are to quit it. So if you're have a vape or something, just grab an axe and just, So yeah, I hope you found this video useful, and I hope you can watch some of my other videos. And yeah, link in the description if you want to change your life. I just want to make this video 10 minutes.